There we go, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. I really do appreciate you guys spending time with us, making time. And there is a goal. The goal for today, the goal why we're meeting is to provide you with value and as much of it. And if I did not provide you value, I did not do my job. So that's the goal for today. We're going to focus on buyer consultation. A little bit about me. I'm a buyer specialist. I'm a buyer specialist, not just on any team, on the top team in the entire MLS. We're going to do over 120 million in volume this year. And I am a buyer specialist on that team. You can also consider me a mega buyer specialist. I'm going to be doing over 20 million in production, 95% buyers. So that is a lot for a buyer's agent on any team in any part of the country. So you have access to me, not just now, but whenever you like. I get phone calls, text messages, and emails from agents every single day. You want to talk to me about anything and everything, you give me a call. I always respond very, very swiftly. Okay?
Ron, would you put your contact information in the chat box?
Sure, of course. I'll try to multitask, which I'm not really good at, but I'll.
All right, then you want me to do it?
That's okay. Yeah, if you can, actually, that would help. Thank you. So what that means to you, I come across many, many buyers. I have conversations, meetings, experiences at a very high frequency, at a very high intensity with buyers. And that provides me a lot of experience that I can now share with you. And we can shorten your learning curve. And that's what we're looking to do, to provide you with value so you don't have to learn the hard way like I did. So let's get into it right off. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys because people are 80%, at least 80% of us are visual learners. We retain more information when we have a visual. So let's do that. Start from the beginning. All right. Start slideshow from beginning. All right. Oh, that's me. So 2017, we did 92 million as a team. 2018, 96.6. 2019, 107. And as I said, in 2020, we will be doing over 120 million. So we are what you call busy. All right. Just a little quote. I always like to start with a quote. Obladi Obladas from the Beatles. Life goes on. And the reason I share this particular quote is because we're going to have a lot of frustrating experiences, yet I call them frustrating, not failure, because we're going to learn from them. And life goes on. Good, bad, sideways, up, down, doesn't matter what happens. There will always be a new day tomorrow. And this business, what's fun about this business is that every day is new. It doesn't matter what happened today. It doesn't matter if it was good. Doesn't matter if it was bad. It's gone. It's in the past because this business, it can turn on you in 2 seconds flat, 180 degrees. You can have a cancellation and then have 2 accepted offers, and then things fall out, and you have an issue here, and you have a solution there, and it's what you call exciting. So let's get into it. So we're here to talk about buyer consultation, right? And there's a huge benefit to buyer consultation. Before we get into the benefits of a buyer consultation, I want to share something with you. Okay, there's 5 or 6 of you on the line here. I always like to ask
9.
9. Okay, 9 people on the line. Well, if that's the case, I always like to ask the question: how many of you, before you got your real estate license, purchased a home with another agent? How many? About the 9, usually about 4 or 5. They raise their hand. It doesn't matter if it's a room of 9 or a room of 90. It's usually about half the room. And then I asked the follow-up question. And the follow-up question is, okay, how many of those agents sat you down, discussed the buying process, spoke about the market conditions, and answered any real estate related questions you had before they showed you homes? And the typical response, again, it doesn't matter if it's 9 people or 90 people, it's usually between 0 and 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that tells me a lot about our industry. What that tells me about our industry is that there's a lot of opportunity for us. Now, why do I say it that way? Why is there a lot of opportunity for us? Because if your traditional agent is rarely conducting what's called a buyer consultation, presentation, whatever you want to call it, that provides us an opportunity to be better than your traditional agent. Very easy. Just by doing a buyer consultation, you are now better than 99% of the industry. So that's what I call opportunity. Now, what does it cost to hire a buyer's agent in the state of New Jersey? $0. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, would you like to hire an expert or an amateur for $0?
Expert.
It's a rhetorical question, right? Obviously, the answer is going to be, oh yeah, I'd like to hire an expert. Well, great. Well, there's no better expert than us around here, so I'm glad that we're meeting. Yet, okay, so let's talk about what's preventing agents. What's preventing the traditional agent from conducting a buyer consultation presentation? Well, what are some ideas? Well, what do you guys think are preventing your traditional agent from conducting one of these presentations? Why are they not doing it?
They don't know how?
No, they don't know how. Okay, well, quick question for you guys. Do we not discuss the buying process with people every single day? And do we not talk about market conditions with people every single day? Do we not answer real estate related questions with consumers, prospects, clients every single day? And that's exactly what a buyer presentation is. So here's the best part. Now, I get the response, well, why aren't they doing it? Well, they don't know how, they don't know what to say. Well, you know exactly what to say. And here's the best part about that is that it doesn't matter. And why do I say that it doesn't matter? Is because when you're sitting across from somebody, whether it be via Zoom or in person or at a meeting, they don't know what you're supposed to say. So you can't get it wrong. Oh, that increases everybody's awareness level when I say it out loud. The consumer, especially first-time home buyers, which is 90% of my business, they don't know what I'm supposed to say. I could say anything and not be wrong. They don't know. So if you forget to say something, so what? It's okay. So we're going to talk about the structure of a buyer consultation very, very shortly. Before we get into that, what are some other reasons you think that a traditional agent is not conducting one of these consultations presentations?
They figure they don't have time.
Don't have time. Well, let me ask you, is it more time consuming to sit down with somebody for 30 to 40 minutes, or is it more time consuming to show them 30 to 40 homes? Oh, yeah. So when somebody says, oh, I don't have time, or they don't have time, well, it doesn't make sense, because at the end of the day, if you're not discovering what they're looking for, you're going to end up wasting a lot of your time and a lot of their time. You don't get a medal for showing the most homes. Actually, I would argue that the job of an agent is to show the least amount of homes, not the most amount of homes. See, the professional agent, the expert agent, doesn't need to show all the inventory. The expert agent will listen to what they're looking for and then take their client straight to it. That's what a good agent does. A good agent doesn't show the most homes. Now, I've learned the hard way. I've shown 55 homes to one client. It's not fun, trust me. I would have rather showed them 5 homes and them select one rather than show them a massive amount of homes. Now, that changes over time as your skill set improves and you get better at discovering what they're looking for and you become more of an expert in the inventory. You will show less homes. You will be able to guide them, direct them, lead them to where they want to go, right? So those are some of the reasons why agents don't do buyer consultations, yet there's so many benefits to a buyer consultation. The benefits include, right, you'll see it in front of you, it's on the slideshow. It helps build rapport, trust, loyalty, confidence, competence with the client. It allows you to set expectations, both for you of them and them of you. It increases the likelihood the buyer will work with you. And that's actually, if I'm simplifying it, yeah, this is why we do the buyer consultation. It increases the likelihood they work with us and nobody else. Just for that one reason, we should be doing them. We're going to educate them about the buying process. We're going to answer any real estate related questions they have. It's not on here. We're also going to handle as many objections as we can, so there's no surprises down the road, right? And so some common buyer objections can be, well, let me ask you, when is the first time your traditional agent is presenting the document, known as the offer, the New Jersey residential sales contract, to their clients? When is the first time the buyer sees that, typically for the first time?
How about when they're ready to have the buyer sign it?
Oh, you like this house enough to submit an offer on it? Please sign this legal document you've never seen before in your life. What is the objection you get next? What happens?
Come on, guys, guess.
Why do I have to? Nobody else has shown me this.
Well, you want to submit an offer on the house, but this is the 13-page legal document you've never seen before. What's the objection that you typically get? What would you say? Let me look over it. Let me read it. Let me show it to my attorney. What happens to the house in the meantime?
Yes, might swoop in.
The house is gone. You're starting from scratch again. Only because you didn't prepare them on what happens when submitting an offer. So that's an objection. That's why I call it an objection. So how do we handle that objection? We talk about submitting an offer during the buyer consultation. We actually, our team prepares them even before the buyer consultation. Before we even do the buyer consultation, this is a tip for you guys. If you want to use this tip, by all means, imitate it, copy it, use it as your own. Before I meet for a buyer consultation, I'm actually sending them an intro email. So I get off the phone, I schedule the appointment, I hang up, I go to my email, I compose an email. What does that email say? It's an intro email about me, about my team, with links to reviews. At the very bottom, I'm attaching a copy of a residential purchase agreement and a home buyer's guide. Click, click. They get it in their inbox. And now they have a copy in their inbox of both a home buyer's guide and an offer that they can review before walking into the meeting. It's a good tip. You might want to use it. So it helps prepare them, right? The one thing you should know about buyers, for the most part, they don't know what they're walking into. They don't do this day in and day out. We do this day in and day out. It's our job to prepare them for what happens next. So they're looking to us to be the leader in that relationship. And if we're not, then what value are we providing them? This is what a buyer's agent is all about. The buyer's agent that provides the most value will likely do the business. And the buyer's agents that don't provide any value will likely not be the business. They're just glorified door openers. And we don't want that. While it's a very good skill to have to open doors, it's not the only skill. We have to have the skill to prepare them for what happens next. So the buyer consultation is a piece of that. And it's a tool for us to actually do that, to prepare them to the best of our ability for what happens next. Now, when somebody knows what happens next, they feel more comfortable and confident. When somebody doesn't know what happens next, how do we feel as human beings when we don't know what happens next?
Nervous.
We feel anxious, we feel frustrated, we feel disappointed, we feel all kinds of negative reactions and emotions, and we don't want that in our buyers. No, we want to make them feel more comfortable and confident, and that's exactly what we can do by preparing them. So when we discuss the buying process, that's what we're doing. When we're discussing the market conditions, that's what we're doing. When we're answering any real estate related questions they have, that's what we're doing. And we don't waste their time when they're coming from Brooklyn or Queens or wherever they're coming from, all these long drives, by showing them these not so nice homes. That's what we're doing. So, we want to prepare them best we can. And emotions make them act. So we're going to handle objections. Let's get back to handling objections. So it's not on here. We're going to handle as many objections as we can during this consultation so that it's more of a smooth process. So there's no issues and there's no surprises, because we don't like surprises yet. If you like surprises, then by all means, you don't have to do the buyer consultation. Okay. So emotions make them act. There's a bold law, logic makes them think, emotions make them act. I'm not the most emotional person, yet I will tell you that there's a few words that real estate agents don't use enough. And those words are something like, I'm going to take good care of you. Trust me. I'm going to find a home that you're going to enjoy for many years to come. Those are emotional words. Those are not, there's no logic, there's no information, there's no numbers to it. It's just, I'm going to take good care of you and your family. I'm going to help you achieve the goal, the outcome, the accomplishment that you're looking to do. I'm going to make that happen for you. So real estate agents just don't say those words enough. And I think that's missing. And when it comes to, emotional roller coasters, I don't think there's anything that's more of an emotional roller coaster than a real estate transaction. So there's a lot of ups and downs, and I say that in my consultations. I'm saying, this is not a straight path. This is a winding road. There's a lot of ups and downs here, and I can share with you that any issue that arises, I am always going to be there to help you find the best solution to help move forward towards the outcome that you're looking for. And I will always tell you what happens next. Sounds good? And the tie down provides you with compliance. Yes, yes. And you move forward. Yet we're not doing that enough. So that's just another tip for you guys. Okay. So we spoke about what was preventing real estate agents from doing a buyer consultation. We spoke about the benefits of a buyer consultation. What I'm going to speak to you moving forward is about value proposition, structure, and then we're going to role play. Okay. All of these things kind of come together, and you'll see exactly how they do that. This is the way I lecture, the way I talk about my stuff. It's more like an advanced setting. I don't expect you guys to remember everything, but as long as you can take some tips here and some value there and implement it in your own businesses, then I'm happy about it. Okay. Before I move on to the next slide, did I have any questions about anything up until this point?
What were the 2 documents you said in your welcome email?
A home buyer's guide, which I can send you a dozen different samples you can get ideas from. I will share with you that it's very, very easy to create it from command. You have a template in there. All you gotta do is plug your picture, plug your contact info, put your bio in there, maybe put your lender's information in there, pick the pages you want, and save it. So it wouldn't take. It shouldn't take you more than a half hour to create your own home buyer's guide packet. And what I'll also share with you is that agents do buyer consultations in 1,000 different ways. There's no right or wrong. It's just what's best for you. There's agents that speak more during the consultations. There's agents that use the home buyer's guide or as their presentation. They're going page by page. There's agents that use just visuals, just a visual slideshow. And there's agents that take the questionnaire and they'll just be asking questions, and it's mostly the buyer answering those questions. And there's different ways to do buyer consultations. There's no right or wrong. It's just you're going to discover what's best for you, and you're going to do it that way. Okay. So what I'm going to ask you is, if you like something you hear me say, by all means, take it, implement it, imitate it, copy it, use it as your own. And if you don't like something that I say, then forget about it. Don't worry about it. Okay. So the home buyer's guide, it's a tool. It's an item of value. It is an item of value. When you give somebody something, it's considered an item of value, especially when nobody else is giving them anything like it. And of course, probably the biggest item of value you can provide a first-time home buyer, especially in advance, is a copy of what an offer looks like. It will help them feel more comfortable and confident. You can also review that with them during the consultation. Any other questions? All right, let's go next. So let's talk about value proposition. Now, why are we talking about value proposition? Well, what makes it so important? What makes value proposition so important? Well, I just said it before. If it costs $0 to hire a buyer's agent, and so the one that provides the most value will get the business, will convert at a higher level. Now, that being said, you see a list in front of you. You don't need to have a dozen different value propositions to convert buyers at a high conversion rate. You really only need 1 or 2. 1 or 2 will get the job done, yet the more value you can provide, the more likely you are to convert. So let's go down the list. Expertise, knowledge, preview homes, obtaining multiple offers, over-communicating, negotiation skills, accommodating those buyers, vendor networks, off-market homes, preparation, guide, understanding local markets. They're all value propositions. And I'm gonna share with you how to communicate it in a second. Yet I always like to increase awareness around that for a second. Now, when I ask you, we said that there's 9 people on the line. When I ask you a simple question, try answering it. It's actually a very simple question, but not so easy to communicate the answer. Answer this for me. Why should I work with you? Why should I hire you? Now, I'm not saying verbalize it back to me, but I want you to think about that for a second. Can you, at a moment's notice, respond to that question? Can you communicate it clearly? You see, what I found was that agents may know their value proposition. They have trouble and difficulty communicating it. So by asking the question now and increasing your awareness level around it, now all of a sudden you can start thinking about that. Now, when the opportunity presents itself that somebody does ask that question, why should I hire you? Why should I work with you? You have a response. So how do we communicate it? Well, let's talk about, previewing homes. And just listen for this for a second. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, would it be helpful to you if I previewed all homes before you did? Yeah, of course. Yeah, sure. And Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, would it be of value to you if I was able to obtain in multiple offer situations more so than your traditional agent? Would that be helpful to you? Yeah, of course. And Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, would it benefit you if I provided you vendors for my service network? I have everything. I have electricians and plumbers and landscapers and windows guys and gutter guys and roofers and attorneys and home inspectors and lenders and everything that you might ever think you might need imaginable in a business transaction. Would that benefit you? Yes, great. Mr. Buyer, would it be helpful to you if I called to your attention a home that's not on the market before anybody else? Would it be helpful to you if I gave you information and I even showed you those homes before anybody else got a chance to see it? Would that be helpful to you? And Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, would it be helpful for you if I can accommodate you at any moment's notice? Let's just say, you need to see a home today at 4 o'clock and I wasn't available, but I was still able to accommodate you. Would that be helpful to you? If we were available to you 24/7 pretty much? Yes, great, wonderful. Well, understanding the local market expertise and all that stuff will take a lot of footwork. If you were listening, I'm doing two things. One, I'm obtaining yeses. And I'm obtaining yeses, it's called compliance. And the more yeses and the more compliant a person is, the more likely they are to work with you, right? It's yes, 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 yes. And then it's an easy close when you say, do you see the value? Would you want to work with me? And then it's an easy yes. Now, when it comes to communicating value, how am I doing it? Is this helpful to you? Is this of value to you? Does this benefit you? Yes, yes, yes. I put the value proposition before. It's an easy yes after. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, would it be helpful to you if I previewed homes before you saw them? Yes. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, would it benefit you to work with an expert that's knowledgeable about the local market? Yes. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, would it be of value to you if I showed you off-market homes before anybody else? Yes. Do you see how I'm communicating value proposition in the form of a question while gaining compliance at the same time? That's an easy way to communicate it. So let's role plays for a second. When somebody says, what's your value proposition as an agent? Then I'll say, you know what, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer, what do you do for a living? Well, I'm a teacher. Okay, well, let me ask you a question. Are all teachers the same or are some better than others? Oh, some are better than others. That's right. And real estate agents are just the same. Some are better than others. And I'm one of the better ones. You see, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I work with buyers day in and day out. All I do is work with buyers, and I see every single home before you do. That means I'm not going to waste your time coming all the way from Brooklyn or Queens. I want your time to be valuable. So I'm going to see everything before you do, and I'll tell you, this is the top product. Let's go see these. Let's not waste our time with those. Would that be helpful to you? Yes, great. So is that you can get from point A to point B via questions. I like doing it via questions. Again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's what works best for me. Feel free to use that as well. But I always like to, instead of telling people, I like to increase awareness level via questions. I got that from Hal Benz, a smart guy.
Yeah. Ron, yeah, he is. For agents who don't have your track record, is there a way you can change what you say about, hey, I work with buyers day in and day out when they don't yet? Is there a way?
That's a good question. I love that question. So it's a good question because it's actually very easy to provide value. Now, let's just say, I live in Fair Lawn. There's 36 active homes in Fair Lawn. If you live in Glen Rock, there's only 9 active homes. And if you live in Saddlebrook, there's only 10 active homes. And if you live in Elmwood Park, there's 13 active homes, and so on and so forth. These towns do not have a lot of inventory. If you live in a town that does not have a lot of inventory, if you saw every single home, it will only take you a matter of a few days. Trust me, it doesn't take that long for us to preview a home. It takes 3 to 5 minutes for each home. So if you saw every single home, would that make you an expert in the inventory? Yeah, all I did was take a little bit of footwork. Some broker opens are coming back. Open houses, if you're not doing one, they're easy to go to. You can always schedule a preview. I've never had issues with those. You can see all the inventory in your towns very quickly. That would make you an expert in the inventory. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, would it be helpful to you if I saw all the homes before you did? Even as a new agent, you can do that. It's an easy way to communicate value to a buyer, to provide value to a buyer. Well, it increases the likelihood that they work with you. Now, if you actually do go see every single home and you keep seeing every single home, that last one on the list and that first one on the list, that's what happens. You start understanding the local market conditions. You start walking into homes and you have a special ability. You'll have a special ability to start forecasting what it's actually going to sell for. And that's good for whether you're a listing agent or a buyer's agent. So just by doing a little bit of footwork and as being an expert in the inventory, and over time, it'll actually help you understand the local market. And over time, it will make you an expert in that particular niche. That's where you'll develop a skill set. It's an easy thing to do, yet I will tell you that from what I've seen, I say this every single lecture, yet maybe 1% of the agents actually go out and do it. So if you want to be better than the rest, all you have to do is go see some homes. I like to simplify things. Simple enough, right? All right. Accommodating, I use the value of a team to accommodate as a value proposition. I always say if I'm not available, Angela's available. If Angela's not available, Talia's available. So because I'm on a team, we have that ability to accommodate anybody and anything for appraisals, inspections, showings, final walkthroughs. There's always somebody to cover you. Even if I'm on vacation for 2 weeks, it's like I didn't miss a beat. So that's the value proposition of a team. I can always accommodate. So you as single agents, I would recommend partnering up with another agent. So if you're not available, don't not schedule the appointment. You have somebody to back you up, right? So they can go do the showing, or you can go to the appraisal, and they can go to the inspect. If you partner up and you come to an agreement with another agent, even if you have a part-time job, you'll always have somebody to cover for you. Don't just schedule meetings when it's convenient for you, because you might be losing opportunities. So, it's always a good idea, I think, in my opinion, to partner up with somebody that'll cover for you, and you have like a mutual agreement. Over communicating, I think the number one complaint after a transaction closes, surveys always tell us that the number one complaint that the consumers had with their agent is that they didn't communicate enough. And they don't know how much we work on the back end. They don't know because we're not telling them. We're not telling them I searched for an hour for homes today for you, because we didn't, we didn't tell them, oh, we didn't find anything. We didn't tell them what happens next. We don't communicate enough in general as agents. And there's no such thing as over communicating in a real estate transaction. There is none. So, that's an easy thing to do. We just have to, talk over the phone more often than we do. I think everybody is more accustomed to text and email nowadays, yet there's a lot lost in translation, and that's fine. But I also would recommend, when we're talking about something important, do it over the phone. If we're talking about an accepted offer or a denial of offer, or how we move forward, have that conversation over the phone. Don't do that over text, and don't do it over email, because there's a lot lost in translation and easily miscommunicated. Okay. Any questions about value proposition before I go to the next slide? Okay, awesome. Let me see the chat, or let me know if there's anything in the chat, Patty, because I'm not looking at the chat right now. But if there's any questions that come up in the chat, just let me know. Because I saw some things.
I didn't realize I was muted. I have a New York agent where their system is a little bit different as far as previewing homes. Like you said, you've seen all the homes in certain towns, and certainly Fairlawn. So I was just responding to her that Sunday open houses, that should be part of every realtor's, and then realtor tour, which in each MLS and in each area is different days.
Yeah, and also if you're not comfortable scheduling a preview, well, schedule an appointment. Your sister is your buyer. Go see the house. Another agent, if you both want to see the house together, well, one of you is the client, one of you is the agent. Go see the house. Okay?
Okay.
All right. There's always a way. There's always a solution. Every problem has at least 3 solutions. You're going to pick the best one. I always like to say that. There's no issue that does not, there's no problem, no issue, no difficulty doesn't have solutions. Just got to pick one and move forward. All
You know,
right.
Ron, I like the fact that you call it an issue, not a problem.
Yeah. Also,
Problem is
you won't hear me say failure. You'll hear me say frustrating experience.
You're frustrating.
It's frustrating at that very moment. Yet if you reflect back on it, it will be a learning experience. You don't fail if you learn. So we always learn. That's what makes you better. You can't get to better without making some bad decisions along the way.
Right.
You know, so we're going to learn from them, and you're going to get better. You get better every single day. We say that, you know, growth happens daily, not in a day. So let's talk about structure. Now, I left the screen blank intentionally because I want to present this to you in a fashion that you're going to remember it very, very easily. What you need to know is that buyer consultations, presentations, and also listing presentations, they have structure. They do. They're not just, you know, you're not just winging it. Even though real estate agents in general have a gold membership in winging it, these presentations, they do have structure if you notice it. So we've all been to school. We've all had to write essays before. What did our teachers request from us as far as structure of an essay? What did they request from us? How they request that we structure it? How they want us to structure it? Anybody remember what the first paragraph was called?
Intro.
An intro, right. And what was the last paragraph called?
Conclusion.
Conclusion, close, right? And what was in the middle?
Body.
The body. And how many paragraphs they want us to have in the body?
3 to 5.
3.
At least 3, right? That's funny, because that's exactly the way a buyer consultation is structured. Isn't that interesting? You see, there's an intro, tell me about yourself, and there's a close, work with me, right? And then there's the body. And what's in the body, you'll find, is your needs analysis. In my case, it's mostly just a recap, because I've already pre-qualified them, asked them all the necessary questions over the initial phone call. Then it's the buying process. And then it's the market conditions. And there's no right or wrong way to structure these. You can talk about market conditions first and needs analysis last. And you can spend more time on one than the other. Yet, you'll notice it's structured. Now, when something is structured, it's easier to internalize. You see, if I'm looking just to internalize the intro, it's only a few questions, it's easy to remember. And if I'm discussing the buying process, it's easier to internalize if I'm just focusing my role play, my script practice, my learning around that one particular section of the buyer consultation. So if you're chunking it down, it's easier to kind of focus on a particular part and improve on it. You know, the words you use, how fast you say it, how loud you say it, you know, whatever, the order you say it, it's, you know, you can always improve things looking back. So I just want you to know, I want you to realize that there is structure. Now, this structure, right, is inside is embedded a few things. Now, embedded in the structure is value proposition. Now, how is it embedded throughout the presentation? How is it embedded throughout the structure of the presentation? Well, think about it this way. Throughout the presentation, beginning, middle, and end, I'm saying, would this be helpful to you? Would this benefit you? Would this be of value to you? I'm providing value, value, value. I'm obtaining yes, yes, yes. And by the time I go for the close, it's an easy yes. Right? And if they say no, for some reason they don't want to work with us, then I just have not communicated enough value to them. Does that make sense?
Yep.
We're a good 40, 45 minutes in. Any questions so far? About anything I said? No? So I'm gonna quiz you at the end. I'm just kidding. There's no quiz, guys. Don't worry. All right. So what I like to do next, it's going to take about 17 minutes, which will put us at the end of our time, is role play. You guys okay with that? All right. So I'm going to role play my buyer presentation. Again, this is just the way that I like to do it. I'm not saying it's the best way. You can take what you like out of it, and you can forget what you don't. Okay. For that, I need a Mr. or a Mrs. Buyer to volunteer and just say a few yeses.
Do it.
All right, Mike. All right. So Mike, you're going to be Mr. Buyer. Typically today it's kind of half on Zoom, half on physical. And so obviously we're on Zoom now, so we'll just make believe that we're doing it via Zoom. So what I'll share with you is that before I get to this point, before I get the buyer consultation, I've typically had a conversation over the phone. I've already done the needs analysis. So what you're going to hear me say in that portion of the role play is just a recap. I'm just going to recap what you mentioned to me, and you'll say yes, and you might add something, and we'll go from there, okay? Usually the first thing I'll say when I meet somebody, whether in person or actually it's not just in the beginning, but beginning and end, the first thing I'll say and the last thing I say to somebody is gratitude. And I learned that also from Hellbent. I learned a lot from the guy. So go to his classes. I always pick up something. Even today, I still go to his classes because I'm always looking to get that one nugget. So you start with gratitude, you end with gratitude. You are always thankful for them spending time with you, because that's the most valuable thing they'll give you. The most valuable thing we have as human beings is our time. And if somebody else is devoting that time to spend with you, we should be thankful for it. Okay, so let's get this discussion going. Mike, you're Mr. Buyer. I've already pre-qualified you. You gave me a wealth of information. You told me where you want to buy. You told me a little bit about your background. Let's get right into it. Okay. All right.
Sure.
Hey, Mike, how's it going, man?
Hey, Ron, how are you?
Everything's great. I just want to thank you for spending a little bit of time with me today. I really do appreciate you devoting these 30 to 40 minutes to discover if we're a good fit together. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, my pleasure. So we have my goal for today is for you to get a wealth of information, for me to provide you what the buying process looks like, what the marketing conditions are like, so that you feel a lot more comfortable, a lot more confident with this whole thing called buying a house. How's that sound?
That sounds great.
Okay, wonderful. So did you get my email that I sent you? It was an intro email with the what an offer looks like in the home buyer's guide.
Yes, I did. I really appreciate you sending that over. That really
Great.
helped a lot for a first-time home buyer.
Yeah, so I always like to discuss the what the process is like of submitting an offer. And I feel like when I give it to you in advance and you have a chance to review it, especially if you're detail oriented and like to read through things, and it gives us a good opportunity to answer any questions you might have about it. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So so in the email, that 13-page document, what I need you to know about that particular document is that New Jersey is a very, very pro-buyer process. Now, what that means is that when it comes to submitting an offer, you should feel very comfortable submitting an offer for a few reasons. Main reason being, we're really just trying to communicate three things to the seller with this particular document. It's the sales price, down payment, and closing date, and all that is on page 2 and page 3 of that document. And the rest of it is a lot of rules, regulations, and sellers have to fill out. So you should feel very comfortable signing and submitting an offer.
Yep. Absolutely. It seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and by doing so, you're not obligated to anybody or anything. You see, all it takes to actually withdraw an offer, let's just say you don't like it anymore, you want to go to another house, all it takes is just for me to call the listing agent, text, email, let them know, hey, thanks, but no thanks, we're not interested anymore. That's how easy it is to withdraw an offer. So feel free to submit as many offers as you like. Perfect.
That's great to know.
Okay, awesome. So let's get right into it. Is it okay if we just kind of recap what you're looking for? You mentioned to me over the phone that you're a family of 4. You have 2 dogs named Hershey and Bingo. You're looking to be in the area because it has great transportation, great schools, and affordable housing. Is that about right?
Yeah, that's correct.
You also said that you're looking for at least minimum 3-bed, 2-bath, and a basement.
Yep, that's correct.
Great. Now, you said about the dogs, you want a good sized yard for them to run around. The additional question I had about that is, do you need a fence? Or is it okay?
Oh,
to-
100%.
Is
Yep,
it okay if we
definitely.
see homes that don't have fences?
I mean, it's something you could definitely look into. We could always get a fence later on.
Okay, and you mentioned basements. Does it have to be finished or it could be unfinished?
Preferably finished.
Okay, but if it's unfinished, it's not a deal breaker.
Correct.
Okay, great. And is there anything else that's important to you that I should know?
I think you pretty much hit everything there.
Okay, great. And you also mentioned that you're currently renting and your lease expires in May. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay, wonderful. So, May is right around the corner. It does take 45 to 60 days on average to close a transaction nowadays. We really should find you something, an actual home by February. So January would be ideal. February is going to be tight, but we can definitely find you something by February. All right.
And it's tough sometimes putting your money into a rental when you rather put that into something you
I
own.
understand. I get that a lot. 90% of the clients that I work with are first-time home buyers, and it's their exact situation. They're looking to pay their own mortgage over somebody else's. Right? So you're coming all the way from Brooklyn. Mike, I want you to know I value your time. I don't want you to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time either. I'm going to discover exactly what you're looking for, via not just what you already told me, but also while we're actually seeing homes. And I'm going to make sure I see everything before you do. Would that be helpful to you?
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, the last thing I want to do is waste your time. So what I'm going to do is, based on what you're telling me, I'm going to take you to the top product in this particular area and show you just those homes. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Wonderful. Okay. Is it okay if we discuss the buying process?
Yep, that'd be perfect.
Wonderful. So I like to simplify things, Mike. The buying process in a nutshell, there's 3 phases, right? We find you the right home, the perfect home. And now we're going to enter the first phase known as attorney review. The second phase is your inspection period. The third and final phase is your mortgage contingency period. And then you're a homeowner, right? Is it okay if we talk about these phases a little bit more in detail?
Sure. Yep.
Wonderful. So, Mike, we found you the right home, the perfect home. Now we're going to get that offer signed and executed, we call it, by the seller. Now we're going to begin the actual buying process. We're going to hand over that executed agreement over to an attorney. By the way, do you have an attorney or not yet?
I actually do, believe it or not. Yes.
Great. Is he a real estate attorney? He, she?
Yes, he is.
Wonderful. In New Jersey.
Correct.
Wonderful. Okay, great. So the most important thing when it comes to choosing the right attorney is that they're going to be real estate attorneys that are local. They know the market conditions are crazy. They're very responsive and they work quickly. And that's super important because what you need to know about attorney review, Mike, is that any party can cancel for any reason. Don't even need a reason, right? So of course, there's a dozen reasons why a buyer would cancel, but there's only one good reason a seller would cancel. Can you think of what that reason might be?
Better offer.
That's right. So, Mike, you know what? If the seller gets a higher offer, a better offer, they're not going to think twice about canceling on us and kicking us out of attorney review. That's why it benefits us to complete attorney review very, very swiftly. That's also why we need a very responsive attorney that's not going to drag things out. Do you see how important that is?
Yep, absolutely.
So the attorneys, what they're going to do, they're going to take over, and that offer that we submitted, they're pretty much going to void it out. Now, the way they do this is that they're going to create a legal document. It's called a rider. And at the very top of the first rider, it's going to say that any previous agreement is now null and void. And you're going to come to agreement on all terms and conditions via these riders. It's going to go back and forth a few times between buyer and seller attorneys. And you're going to come to agreement. So that's how we come to agreement on all terms and conditions. And if we can't, then we'll shake hands and we'll go our buyer and seller will go their separate ways. And that's fine. So that happens on occasion, but that's not what we're looking for. We're looking to finish it quickly, come to agreement, and move forward. Sounds good?
Perfect. Yep, nice and simple.
Any questions about attorney review?
No, I think you pretty much covered everything pretty thoroughly.
And this is what I need you to know moving forward. I don't expect you to remember everything, Mike, everything that I say. I will always tell you what happens next. Would that be helpful to you?
Yeah, 100%. I know we've dealt with some agents in the past where they've kind of been lackadaisical in that regard.
I'll tell you, Mike, when we submit an offer, I'll tell you what happens next. When we get accepted an offer, I'll tell you what happens next. And when we finish the term review, I'll tell you what happens next. When we finish the inspection period, I will tell you what happens next. Every point throughout the transaction, I will always tell you what happens next because I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to feel confident with this whole thing. And what I do know is that when someone, even myself, does not know what happens next, we feel frustrated. I don't want you to feel frustrated, disappointed. I want you to feel excited. I want you to feel knowledgeable. I want you to feel comfortable. How does that sound?
Yep, sounds great.
Okay, great. So yes, we came to agreement on all terms and conditions. We've now completed the first phase of the 3 phases. We're now going to enter the second phase, known as the inspection period. At this point, we are now considered under contract in New Jersey. That is important. Remember I said it's a pro-buyer process? We're going to get to that in a second. So yes, we finished the first phase. The inspection period is pretty self-explanatory. We're going to hire a home inspector. They'll conduct a home inspection. They'll provide us with a home inspection report. We will now take that report, you and me together, we'll review that report together. And if there's any items that are important for you to request that the seller address, we're going to create a short list of those items and we're going to give it to your attorney. And then we're going to await the seller's response. The seller will then respond by saying, yes, I'll fix it. No, I won't fix it. I'll provide your credit, or a plain out no. We'll come to agreement and we'll move forward. Ultimately, we are looking to come to a compromise, to an agreement. It is a negotiation by all means, so that we can arrive at the outcome you're looking for, which is to be in this home that you liked enough to submit an offer on and to live in and enjoy for many years to come. Yet what happens, the follow-up question I always get when I reach this point is, okay, well, what if we can't? What if we don't come to agreement? Well, like I said, it's a very pro-buyer process. You see, if we can't come to agreement during what's known as the inspection contingency, then buyer can cancel without penalty. You see, the buyer can cancel for any reason during attorney review, and the buyer can cancel without penalty during the inspection period. So it's a very pro-buyer process. Now, here's another reason why it's such a pro-buyer process, and you should feel very comfortable with this whole process, is if you noticed, I didn't say anything about deposits. I didn't say anything about money exchanging hands. I didn't say anything about consideration. You see, here in our neck of the woods, here in North Jersey, there's something called an additional deposit. Now, that additional deposit is due when? Is due 10 days after completion of attorney review. Now, you see, the inspection contingency is 10 to 14 days usually. Now, how it usually pans out is that we're finishing attorney review, we're conducting the home inspection. You kind of know what you're walking into, and only then you're providing the additional deposit. Again, very pro-buyer process, right?
Yes.
Now, that additional deposit, even if you've provided it before the inspection contingency was completed and it doesn't work out for some reason, what happens? Well, buyer can cancel that penalty. You get your deposit back. So you should feel very comfortable with this whole process. Now, the additional deposit, let's talk about the amount. You said you were coming down with 20% down, is that right?
That's correct.
So the additional deposit around here is usually between 5 and 10%. 5% is pretty typical around here. And okay, so what about the rest of the funds? Well, okay, so we're providing 5%. Let's just say on a $400,000 home, it's $20,000. At 10 days after completion of attorney review, what happens to the rest? What about the other 15%? All of that plus your closing costs will be due at closing, at the closing table. All you need to have available to you is that 5%. Okay?
Okay.
All right, wonderful. So yes, we've completed the first phase, attorney review. We've completed the second phase, the inspection period. We've provided the deposit. Now we're going to enter the third and final phase. I like to call it the mortgage contingency period. At this point, we're going to order the appraisal. The appraisal report will then go to your lender's underwriter. Your lender's underwriter will review your whole file, and they'll provide you with what's called a mortgage commitment letter. Basically, Mike, it's a letter that says, Mike, you're approved for this loan, for this house, for this amount. Provide us these list of conditions, and we'll give you full loan approval and a clear to close. So at this point, we're going to submit all of these conditions as quickly as we can to the lender, and we're going to obtain a clear to close. The lenders like to call it a CTC. And as soon as we do that, we can go ahead and schedule a closing day and time with your attorney, and you're going to be a new homeowner. Now, is the buying process as smooth as I just explained it? Not really. I can tell you that there's it's more of a winding road than a straight one. There's a lot of ups and downs, Mike, throughout this buying process. It's not as smooth as I just explained it, but I will share with you is that any issue that arises, I will be sure that I will help you find a solution to help us move forward. How does that sound?
That sounds fantastic.
You see, Mike, we do 250 transactions a year. We've pretty much seen it all. We're solution finders. We're deal makers. We're going to help you get to the outcome, the accomplishment, the achievement you're looking for, which is to buy this particular home and enjoy it for many years to come. Does that sound good?
That sounds fantastic.
Awesome. Amazing. So did you have any questions about the buying process?
No, right now I think I'm good. I mean, you laid it out in a very easy to understand fashion, so I appreciate it.
You're great. And don't forget, I'll always tell you what happens next. Okay, Mike?
Thank you so much.
All right. So is it okay if we take a few minutes to discuss the market conditions, Mike?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Great. Do you know the difference between a seller's market and a buyer's market, Mike?
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah, in a seller's market, there's very low inventory. Sellers are getting what they're asking for, maybe even more. And in a buyer's market, there's a lot of inventory and the buyers have a lot more leverage to negotiate. And right now, Mike, I would call it a funny market. And I call it a funny market because it's kind of both a seller's market and a buyer's market at the same time. It's definitely described in general as a seller's market, yet there's only two types of product, Mike. And the two types of product that I'm talking about is, well, let's just say in the area you're looking for, there's 36 homes for sale. And some of those are seller market product and some of those are buyer market product. And it generally comes down to about 85% are one type, which is your buyer market product, which are the overpriced, still going to get plenty of activity, not going to get any offers type product. And the other 10 to 15%, which is your seller market type product, which are priced correctly, even underpriced. And they're going to be here today, get multiple offers, gone tomorrow. Let me ask you, Mike, do you know which type of product you happen to be walking into at any point in time? What type of product that happens to be? No, see, that's what I'm here for. You see, Mike, I've seen everything. I've seen every single home on the market, off the market, every single home that's sold in the last 5 years, how many offers they got, what they sold for. And what that provides me, it provides me a special ability to walk into any home and say, hey, Mike, don't look at that list price. It says 420. It's not a 420 home. Somebody else is going to pay 400 for it. Hey, Mike, that says 380. Don't look at the list price. That's not a 380 home. It's going to sell for 430. Would that be helpful to you if every home we walked into, I told you not what you're willing to pay, what another buyer is willing to pay?
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be really helpful.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I'm here for. And we've developed that special ability and that expertise through many, many years of selling more than anybody else in the area. Okay?
Fantastic.
So I generally like to ask the question also, do you know the difference between a salesperson and a consultant? And, the salespeople, they like to sell. They'll make a sale. They like to sell you on stuff. And consultants, they like to listen to what you're looking for and then advise you and then go hunting for you, go find what you're looking for. And I always ask, well, which would you prefer? And obviously it's nobody who likes to be sold. And that's exactly, we're consultants, Mike. This is what we do. I listen to what you're looking for and then I go find it for you.
Absolutely.
How do you like that?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Great. Yeah, since I've seen everything, if I know what you're looking for, I don't have to waste your time. I can take you straight to the product that you're looking for and say, this is the top product. It's either you like enough to submit an offer on it or you say, let's go next.
Perfect.
All right. So that's exactly.
Never had anybody say that to me before.
Well, we do a lot of transactions. This is a relationship business. It's not about a commission check at the end of it. If I do my job properly, yeah, I'll get paid for it. But if I don't do my job, I don't deserve to get paid. That's the way I see it. So I'm never going to pressure you. I'm as patient as they get. I will listen to what you're looking for and I will guide you. I will lead you and I will help you arrive at the outcome you're looking for.
Perfect.
Awesome. So any questions about anything we discussed so far?
No, definitely straightforward.
Great. You mentioned you're coming down with 20% down. You did speak to a lender. What lender were you using again?
XYZ Mortgage Company.
Yeah, and just like agents, not all lenders are created the same. Would it be helpful to you if you were able to obtain a better rate, better financing with better customer service?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, would it benefit you if I sent you some recommendations, some contact info, some recommendations that are going to take very good care of you and make sure that they take good care of you? Because if they don't, they won't get any more recommendations from me.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so the lenders that we recommend are actually the top lenders in the country, the top 1%, and we recommend them hundreds of buyers a year, and they've never dropped the ball. Their performance rate is 100%, and they are sure, you can feel free to shop them around as well. They are sure to give you the best rate and the best customer service. So I'm going to send you their info as soon as we end this call. Okay?
Oh, that'd be great.
Yep. So, Kathy, Atlantic Home Loans, she's amazing. She'll take good care of you. And you'll notice very, very quickly that, different lenders are better than others, right? All right. So any questions so far?
What are the rates at these days?
So it's hovering. Last week it was a week and a half ago it was 2.5. It jumped up to 2.6. As of today, it was at 2.725, but they fluctuate daily. Yet they're still, as long as they're in the twos, you're in very, 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 very good shape.
That's great. That's really promising.
Yeah, I will tell you, Mike. I just had a buyer I was speaking to today. They got quoted from a different lender 3.2 when Kathy just quoted a different client of mine at 2.75. So it's it'll benefit you to definitely shop around, make sure that you're speaking to the right person.
Great. That sounds perfect.
All right. So any questions? You said you don't have any questions, right? That you can think of.
Not at this moment. No, I think I'm okay.
And if you do, feel free to text me, call me, email me, send it by pigeon carrier, any which way you like. I'm going to respond very, very quickly. I like to say if I don't respond within 2 minutes, I'm probably not breathing anymore. You'll get a very, very swift response from me. I'm very good at that.
Awesome, Ron. No, I really appreciate your time.
Great. What I need you to know, Mike, is if there's a house, let's just say that comes along today, and I'm not here, maybe I'm away, maybe I have another appointment. I need you to know that there's always somebody to accommodate you. You see, for the price of $0, you're actually hiring 15 people. See, I work on a team and I work on a top producing team, and there's always somebody to accommodate you. So if, let's just say you need to see that house today at 4 before it disappears and I'm not available, Angela will show it to you. And Angela can't show it to you, then Michael will show it to you. And if Michael can't, then Talia, and so on and so forth. There's always somebody to accommodate you, as well as having a transaction coordinator on the back end that makes sure all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted. You have a master negotiator in Zora that's going to do the negotiation on your behalf. Nobody negotiates better. Nobody saves more money for their buyers and gets more money for their sellers than he does. And you can notice that from all our reviews online, which was in the links to the email that I sent you. And you just need to know that there's a team of agents supporting you. We are your success team. We are your support team. You see how that benefits you?
Oh, 100%. That's fantastic.
Great. So, that's just for the lecture. I'll stop sharing for a second. And that's what we have today. So do you see how much value we provide over your traditional agent, Mike?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, I've never seen a whole team like you have.
Yeah, not all agents are created equal, and we're definitely not your traditional agent. So we're looking forward to helping you arrive at the outcome you're looking for, which is a home, by the time that your lease expires in the end of April. And I can tell you, you can trust me. I'm going to take very good care of you. You are in very good hands. We're going to take very, very good care of you and your family, Mike.
Awesome, Ron. That sounds
Great. So what happens next? We have to schedule, day and time to meet. When is the most convenient time for you to see homes, on weekends or weekdays?
Usually weekends are better.
Okay, Saturdays or Sunday?
Sunday.
Great. Are you available this weekend?
Sure.
Okay, great. So do you prefer Sunday mornings or Sunday afternoons?
Sunday morning be best.
Okay, great. So let's schedule Sunday, 10 o'clock. Based on what I know, I'm going to schedule the top product for you. Off the top of my head right now, there's 3 homes that I'd love to show you. 2 are on the market. 1 is not on the market yet. We're going to go ahead and see those top products. You're going to give me your feedback. Mike, these are not my homes. I don't, you can say good, bad, anything you like. The more information you give me, the more I will, and the more and the better I'll be able to guide you. So we're going to go see those top products. I'm going to make sure that you get value out of that meeting. Every meeting we meet, you will get value out of it, and you will be that much closer to finding the right home, the perfect home.
It's a really exciting process.
Great. So I'm going to text you the address where to meet, and I will see you and your family on Sunday at 10 a.m.
Perfect. That sounds great, Ron. Thanks again.
Now, I want to thank you again for spending some time with me today. I trust you got value out of our conversation, and you're a little bit more comfortable and confident with this whole buying process. And I'm looking forward to helping you and your family out.
Yes, likewise. Appreciate
Ron, I
it.
have a question in the chat. Do you
Sure.
start showing before you have a pre-approval?
So we had that conversation, if you notice, during the buyer consultation. If they don't have a pre-approval in today's market, then everybody's wasting their time. It's if they like something, there's a rule. 10 other people like it too. Now you're going to handle that objection. When I say handle objections, that's what we're doing as buyers agents. We're handling as many objections as we can up front. Now, this by all means is a common buyer objection. Oh, show me homes before I have a pre-approval letter. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Barr, what can we discuss that for a moment? And they'll be like, yeah, sure. I don't know if you noticed, but I always ask for permission for everything. Is it okay if we talk about the buying process? Is it okay if we talk about the marketing additions? Is it okay if I'm always asking for permission? They always say yes, because when you ask for permission, one, it's the polite thing to do, but they always comply. And we're looking to obtain yeses. We're looking for compliance. It's a psychological. We're not psychologists, but we are salespeople. So we're looking to obtain yeses, and that's a good way. By asking for permission, you get an easy yes, right? So, Mr. and Ms. Barr, what I'd hate to see happen is that you see I show you the right home, the perfect home, and you don't have your pre-approval letter, and by the time you obtain your pre-approval letter and ready to submit an offer, that house is gone. And that's the one that got away, and that's the one we're comparing everything to, and I'd hate to see that happen to you. Do you see the benefit in obtaining a pre-approval letter before we can start seeing some homes?
Mhm.
Yeah, great. So
And
do you need, are you working with a lender right now, or do you need a recommendation? And
I think in this COVID environment, sellers don't want you in their homes without a pre-approval.
yeah, you can use that could be your objection handler. So, well, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I can understand why you'd want to see homes to find the right home before you have somebody pull your credit. Yet in today's environment, many homeowners are not allowing us access to the property to even see the home without one. Do you see why we need to get one? It can be another objection. You always go back to benefit. If you don't know what to say, you can create an objection handler on the spot by going back to the benefit, why it benefits them. So we're always agreeable. I understand why you might think that. Yet, we don't use but, right? Yet, this is why you should. The words we use are so important. Obviously, I haven't mastered it by any means, but I've improved my vocabulary and the words I use over time.
We're so lucky to have Ron. Please, if you have questions, now's the time.
Now is the time, since you have me
In-
face to
in-
face. What questions
His
do you have? What
contact
thoughts do you have?
I'm sorry, his contact information is in the chat box.
Thoughts, comments?
I have a quick question.
Yes.
So you were mentioning that you have to 10 days after the inspection is, or no, 10 days after attorney review starts or ends is when you get the additional deposit, or when they put down the
That's when it's due.
When it's due.
I've had clients provide it before and after. After you're technically in breach, but it's on or before 10 days after completion of attorney review. That's when your additional deposit is due. By then, you've likely done the home inspection.
Okay.
Many times it's 3, 4, or 5 days after you're conducting a home inspection. Now, what that means is, well, you're actually discovering what you're walking into, because your buyers are typically at the home inspection before they even provide the deposit.
Please read the contracts. There's no substitute. That will give you tremendous confidence, knowing what's in that contract.
Yeah, I was just thinking of the scenario where the inspection kind of drags on and on forever. And then I was thinking, in my case, I think we had our additional deposit due, I think 10 days, I think it was 10 days after the inspection. I think that's what.
So on
Usually
page,
10 days
so on the
after-
top, yeah, on the
Go ahead.
on the top of page 3, you're going to insert it. I always put 10 days after after completion of attorney review on there. I don't put a date. Different agents put dates. You can
Mhm.
structure it any which way you want, but it is typical to have it 10 days after completion of attorney review. Now, what happens if your inspection is, it's dragging? Your inspection period is usually 10 to 14 days unless otherwise agreed upon. What if your deposit is due? Well, that's fine. You can hand the deposit comfortably as a buyer, because if you can't come to agreement on inspection contingency items, then the buyer can
You'll
cancel
get it
that
back.
penalty and get their deposit back. You have to be able
Yeah,
to explain that to the client.
That's true. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Two different contingencies.
Yeah, there's a lot of protections for a buyer. New Jersey is probably one of the more, I say it because it's true, it's probably the most pro-buyer state in the country.
Yeah, poor New York, they put in an offer, do the inspections, lay out the cash, and they can get bumped by another offer. And because it's not until the inspections are done do they go to a contract with an attorney.
And here it's the opposite. We're coming to agreement on terms and conditions via attorney review, and then we do the home inspection.
Yeah.
So it's more pro-buyer in my eyes.
However, the process, though slightly different order, is the same, and the caveats and the due diligence and the consult is still the same.
Yeah. I got my license in Las Vegas, Nevada. This was back in 2005. I was there for 5 years. Over there, you have a due diligence period. It's an agreed upon period. Usually it's 7, 10, 14 days, depends on the scenario. Usually that 10-day due diligence period is where you can cancel for any reason. Then beyond that, your deposit, which is a lot lower, it's not 5% or 10%. It's usually, a few thousand, $2,000, $3,000, but that becomes non-refundable. So it's not as pro-buyer. Now, a lot of the states have due diligence windows, due diligence periods, where that's it. Like it's non-refundable after. Also, a lot of part in Nevada or in a lot of parts of the country, also, once you have an accepted offer, you're under contract. The seller cannot just cancel for any reason. So here we have something called attorney review. Any party can cancel. So it's different in different parts of the country. Yet we're going to focus on New Jersey because we work here, live here, and this is where we're creating our businesses.
Ron, will you
Question.
send me that buyer consult and I'll share it with the group,
Sure.
please?
I'll send you all the samples. I usually keep about 10 or a dozen, so I can send you the different
Okay.
samples. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep, and there is a buyer consult in Command. So take Ron's, take the one in Command, make it yours, make it uniquely yours.
it's a very easy template to create. They created a template for you. Just really put your contact info, put your picture, put your bio, maybe a lender, a insert page or your vendor network, and pick the pages you want, and you have yourself a home buyer's guide. It's an item of value, and many agents actually use it as their presentations.
Mhm.
They created that particular template so you could use it as a presentation.
Yeah.
Actually, I've done a class. One of the market centers asked me to do a buyer consult class around that template, which I did, and I actually went page by page by page. That was my buyer presentation. It's doable.
Okay. Wonderful, Ron. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I do a lot of different things. I don't necessarily focus on a seller side because I'm looking to master and specialize only on the buyer side. I do a lot of things when it comes to buyer side stuff. How to convert, improve your conversion at open houses, how to handle common buyer objections, buyer consultations, masterminds. If you want to, masterminds, I like talking about, any topic that you throw at me. And obviously the art of working with buyers is the general course. So, anything that's buyer related, I'm game, and I can do it at a moment's notice. So you just let me know when works, and I'll be there.
Ron, thank you.
My pleasure. I
Thank
want to
you.
thank everybody again for participating. I know you got value. So if
Yeah.
you were able to get 1, 2, 3 things that you can actually learn from, use, implement, and we did our job today. And you are a better agent than you walking into this one.
Thank you, Ron. I'm going to take a minute. Ron, stay on.
Okay,
I'm going to highly recommend this book called The 12-Week Year. Have you read it, Ron?
I have not.
It's now's the time of year where you're going to be doing your 2021 business plan.
Already done.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. What's interesting about this book, I've always felt that I live my life by minutes, not hours. If I have 5 minutes, I can do things in that 5 minutes. Okay. And this book speaks to annualized goals really are not good. You want, and I know, Ron, how, because I know you well enough that, you know, you have to make your goals right down to today. What do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish for the year? Divide it by 12. What do you want to accomplish for the month? What do you want to accomplish for the week? What do you want to accomplish for the day? This will get your mindset, and it's a small book, not big. So I highly encourage you to get this book. All right, because we will be doing goal setting on one of our sessions. Next week, we have Cheryl Cooper, who's just joined us from Coldwell Banker. And she's going to talk to us about how she got started and how why she came to KW. So it'll be a good meeting too. I'm getting in all these top experts. We're so lucky. And Ron, thank you. You are always so accommodating. Guys, really, please reach out to Ron and let him know how helpful he was for you. All right. Send him an email, give him a text. What would you prefer, email or text, Ron?
Any which way works.
Let him know how helpful he was for you, because I think he did it so smoothly, so easily, that I think he put you guys at ease as far as giving you some confidence that you can do it too. Yeah,
Yeah, everybody starts from somewhere.
that's
You know,
right.
you don't learn to ride a bike a day, you don't learn how to swim in a day, you don't learn how to walk in a day, you don't learn how to speak in a day, you don't learn how to do anything in a day. But you do learn it daily, right? The more we do something, the better we get at it. And as adults, it's kind of, you know, we're kind of fearful because now we're walking to something that we don't know and we have to learn. So don't just move forward. You'll just keep moving forward, take action, learn daily, you'll grow, you'll be better. And I always recommend that, you know, if you get frustrated or overwhelmed with this business, which it will definitely do to you because it does it to me still, just close your eyes, ask yourselves, you know, okay, well, am I better today than when I started? It's generally the answer is yes. Okay, well, 3 months from now, am I going to be better than I am today? The answer is going to be yes. And what about 6 months from today? Am I going to be better than I am 3 months from today? The answer is going to be yes. You see, what that allows us, it increases our awareness level that we're actually growing. So you may be frustrated, you may be overwhelmed, yet you have to go through that to get to better. Everything's okay. Everything's going to be okay. Just move forward. Take action, move forward, and just know that everything's going to be fine.
Okay. Thanks, Ron. Thank
My
you,
pleasure.
everybody. And I know we're all going to go to our TVs and see what's going on with the election. All right. All right, guys, have a good night, and make sure next week, same time, same link. See you then. All right, and I see you
Here.
already coming through the chat box.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Ron. Thank you very much.